Hi everybody, welcome to Module 3, Child Development in Traditional Literature. This is a 2-week module where week 1 will be focused on child development and week 2 will be focused on traditional literature. You're in the right place if you are listening to this video because we are going to walk through the whole module in the next 15 minutes. So for week 1 of Module 2, you will focus on the child development reading. In this reading, this is where you will complete the reading organizer for child development. You will find answers as well as try-its and the like within this reading. So please base your reading organizer for child development off of this reading. And then in week 2, you will base your reading organizer off of traditional literature. We also have a literature study due this week, which is Because of Winn-Dixie. If you have not started reading it, you will need to do so immediately. The PDF version of the book is loaded here in the course for you to view. But if you have a hard copy of the book, that's even better because that's a lot more fun, especially if you are doing a read aloud with anybody. Okay, another thing that is a good habit to get into is to always click on the Overview tab, which lets you know what will be completed, the course competencies that we'll be focusing on in the module, our learning objectives, and the various quizzes, which we don't have any quizzes, sorry, assignments or tasks to be completed. Okay, so as you can see, there really isn't any additional resources this week. We just have our 2 readings as well as the Winn-Dixie PDF. So for our reading organizer, I don't need to open this up anymore because I think that you guys all understand that the reading organizer are the same every week. You're going to answer the same questions, just tailor them to the according reading. So always complete your reading organizer on the Tuesday of the module. So Week 1 of Module 3 is Child Development, and as we know, Week 2 would be Traditional Literature. For our reading commentary for Week 1, we're focusing on the Giselle or Dr. Seuss Award winners or Honor Award winners. To find the Giselle Award winners, you will click on this link, and this gives you an overview of the Theodore Seuss Giselle Award. And it tells you what the 2021 winners are, as well as the 2020 winners. You can find additional awards from previous years when you click on this link. Next, you will have to type in Theodore Seuss Giselle Award, and it will give you then a list of all the awards that date back to about 2006. If you notice, the awards are not necessarily listed in order, so just kind of follow along and really just choose whatever 2 books speak to you and that you would like to explore further for this reading commentary. Once you've found your 2 books, you've listened to them or you've reread them over and again, you will respond with your initial post, including the title and author, and you're going to use your child development readings for this week to answer the questions within this post. So in the readings, it goes over child development and developmental stages of readers. So the first part is developmental stage. Discuss in about 2 to 3 sentences what development stage you think this book is intended for. This is specifically from the readings this week. You will want to cite the reading and discuss the correct developmental stage for this reading. Then discuss which of the following 4 do you think the book supports and why. Use language and definitions from the text to support your analysis. The 4 are infants, toddlers, early childhood, or early readers. So if you use your text, you will be able to answer this seamlessly. Next, how does the book demonstrate creativity and imagination in 2 to 3 sentences? And what topics or ideas does this book help students explore or learn about? And then you will attach your 2 images of each of the book in the thread. Remember that all initial posts should be completed by Thursday, and you have until Sunday to respond to your classmates. Please do make sure that you are making your responses to your classmates, as it builds classroom community and also continues the discussion and just makes it a lot more fun, because you have the opportunity to explore different books that you didn't read in your reading commentary, but you get to have the perspective of your classmates as well. Okay, as we scroll back, all the way back down to Module 3, we're coming up to our first literature study. So, as you know, you need to complete reading Because of Winn-Dixie, and once you've completed reading the book, you will then be ready to start this literature study. This is an assignment that is going to take the book and chunk it into various sections. The book has 26 chapters in total, so I would like you to chunk each section into groups of 5. So for chapters 1 through 5, you will be discussing all those chapters in one and considered it as one section. Again, as you go forward, chapters 6 through 10 is section 2, 11 through 15 is section 3, 16 through 20 is section 4, and 21 through 26 is section 5. You will want to create a PowerPoint or Google slide or some type of digital tool. It doesn't have to be PowerPoint, it could be Prezi or anything that would allow you to create this presentation. But I like to do PowerPoint or Google Slide and make each slide a section. So section 1 would be slide 1, and that would cover chapters 1 through 5 and so on. Once you've chunked your book into sections, you are going to create an illustration or some kind of an image to represent the gist of what occurred in that section. So if you are an artist and you want to draw, you can use pencils, markers, crayons, or whatever, and draw the gist of what happened in each section. Or if you're not too artistic and just don't feel like doing that, I'm certainly happy for you to use electronic images. As you consider images from the internet, I suggest steering away from images from the movie. Winn-Dixie does have a movie that was made quite a few years ago. I would prefer you to not use pictures from the movie, but to find pictures that would represent the gist of what happened in each section, not necessarily movie clips. So, for each slide, we'll just say, you will have an image or multiple images that represent what happened in that section of the book. And then in the notes section, you are going to write a brief summary or synopsis of what happened in that section. This needs to be in your own words. Please do not Google what happened and copy and paste a summary. I would like to know just an overall gist of what happened within that section coming from your own words. As you're thinking about that summary, it's a good thing to consider what characters were introduced, what was happening in the setting at that time, if there was a problem introduced at that time, maybe how the plot was developing, how the characters began to develop throughout, or how the problem was solved. We know that throughout the story, we have that beginning, middle, and end. So just kind of consider where they are in each section and just describe it accordingly. So, your overall submission should have at least 5 illustrations that capture the gist of each section. They can be hand-drawn or they can be digital images. Try to stay away from movie clips and put more of just an idea of what you're trying to describe with other images. If you are using digital images, do make sure that you are also citing the sources there on a reference page. You also need to have 5 supporting synopsises or from each section that are in your own words. If you need some help getting the section synopsis written, you can use these sentence starters here. It's always helpful. In this section, we were introduced to, we learned more about, the section ended with us wanting to learn, so on and so forth. So you can use any electronic tool of your choice. It does not have to be a PowerPoint or Prezi. or Google Slide, but I do think that that is probably pretty easy because you can put the images in the slides and then the synopsis in the note section. But if you want to explore something different, I'm more than happy. If you do explore something different with a Prezi or a Google Slide or any other electronic tool, just make sure the share settings are set so that I may access the assignment. All right, so that is due at the Sunday, of week 1 of module 3. Then we're going to go into week 2. We have our reading organizer, which follows the same plan as always, focused on traditional literature. Then that is due Tuesday, and then the reading commentary for traditional literature is the only other assignment for this week. And in this assignment, it's the same as always. You're going to find 2 books focused on traditional literature. The books are listed here. They're just suggestions. There's additional stories or books that might be out there that you want to take a look at. You can do a search. But these are just helpful ideas of topics for traditional literature. Choose 2 books, reread them, and reread them. And then when you're ready, I would like for you to then post your initial post on Thursday with the title and the author. The type of traditional literature, this is going to come directly from the readings that you did your reading organizer on. What type of traditional literature do you think this book is and why? Use your readings about different types of traditional literature. Use language and definitions from our text to support your analysis. Just as a refresher, the types of traditional literature are folk tales and fairy tales, ballads and epics, legends, myths, and tall tales. So choose one of those categories for each story and then continue. Discuss what culture does the story represent or teach us about? What do readers learn from the story? Is it a life lesson, an answer to a question, like why does something happens? Is it a good versus evil? Does it teach a moral lesson? Traditional literature always has some type of life lesson. This will be 2 to 3 sentences. And then based on what you read about child development last week, what age or grade do you think this piece of traditional literature would be good for and why? And then, of course, attach your 2 images of each book. So you will explore these questions for both books and, of course, respond to 2 classmates by Sunday. So week 2 of module 2 is a bit light, so this might be a great week for you to continue with or begin working with the students that you are completing your field experience hours with. For those of you who are completing service learning hours, this might be a great week to dive in. Everyone's on their own timeline there, so that just depends on where you are. But since there is not any big hefty assignments after our reading commentary, this would be a great week to focus on those hours. Also, as a reminder, you want to be reading Hugo Cabret. This is our 3rd literature study. It's due at the end of our course, right at the last week of December. But it's a long book, so I definitely recommend getting a hold of it and reading a few chapters each week, just so that you can keep up with the reading for that book. All right, everybody, if you have any questions about this module, please email me. And next week, we'll be going into types of children's literature on poetry, modern fantasy, and realistic fiction in module 4, which is sure to be fun. Look forward to seeing all that you learn in module 3. Have a great week, 2 weeks, everybody.